Hello, everybody. This is Debo of Debo's Film Reviews, and this week's review will be Fast and Furious, starring, of course, Paul Walker as Brian O'Connor, Jordana Brewster as Mia Toretto, Michelle Rodriguez as Letty, Vin Diesel as Dom Toretto, featuring Shea Wiggum as Agent Stasiak, and John Ortiz as Campos, aka Braga, who was the villain of the movie. And of course, in her feature screen debut, Gal Gadot as Giselle. Like I say, excellent addition of the franchise. I mean, especially when it started at the beginning with in the gas heist and the surprising deal of how until it like later on in the movie, Dom was a GM driving GM vehicles, given how beginning he was driving a Buick Grand National in the beginning of the movie. That was the closest one I could say it was a tricked out that wasn't a stock car. And especially with those tricked out dualies that Don Omar and Han drove in the beginning, where they hooking the trailers to their trucks compared to compared to 18 wheeler they were jacking. Although it was like more than 18 wheels, because it was like about four trailers. Because yeah, on American highways only allow like two to three. Varies by West Coast and the East Coast. Although this was Dominican Republic in the movie, they were heisting because in the first one, after the end of the first one, of course, Vin Diesel escapes after learning that Brian the Buster was a Fed. Although in the first one he was LAPD, and in the fourth one the Buster was FBI. Not sure how they explained how he became over in that whole deal with the chief and going to reinstated deal. You know how he went from LAPD to FBI without a vetting process. Typical movie logic, especially in the second one where he was retired from law enforcement and working as a mechanic at Tejas shop in Too Fast and Furious. Enough about that and back to the movie. And of course, with the whole storyline of how Dom learns that Letty was supposedly murdered, but we all know she comes back in six with a with a post credit in five. We know only goes on a quest of revenge, and then the bust the Buster and Dom team up, and the Buster seals the deal with Mia, and like I mentioned with the gas heist at the beginning of the movie, on the exit chasing scenes, that's when they hooked up to their trucks, and then Dom gets in that, and Letty and that Buick try to head on with that rolling trailer. Talk about a semi-successful hijacking of a suicide jockey, and of course, you got the epic street race, which was the Braga vetting process for runners. I mean, where of course Vin Diesel hooks up with Giselle in the movie, and I say Gal Gadot definitely stepped her game up. I mean, being Giselle and Wonder Woman were best things she's done. And we'll talk about that chase scene, even with that side character in the sequence where you got that dumb redneck called Dwight, and he was all about how muscle beats import every time. And I was like, yeah, until the 2008 NASCAR season, I agreed. I used to agree on American versus import until Toyota came to NASCAR, but hey, I'm still Team Muscle. That's in that movie where old Dom's in that tricked out Chevelle that started out red, which was a post credit in Fast and Furious 1, and then featured again before he paints it over to silver to go back to America, and then street racing, challenged the Buster for a spot in the team. And talking about one of the most epic of the street races of the franchise. Although this one, the fourth one, was the last one that was actually had to do with some street racing. Well, yeah, I'll save the rest for when I get on Fast Five and on up and all. And talking about how the intense rivalry and all with two lesser known characters, Wreck Dare Rides, and then the showdown where up to like the finish line, and then where Dom pulls some Dale Senior shit on the Buster and knocks him out the way. I mean, that was some hardcore racing on that one. Cause old Dom's definitely the hard charger, and the whole reveal where, and then get on later on when they then a fight between Buster and Dom when the Dom finds out that lady was working as a informant for Brian and trying to, and then then you get the final showdown now between Dom with Dom and Brian teaming up against Braga. I mean, talk about how they upgraded their cars after Dom blows up his Chevelle and takes out Brian's Skyline. In the process, just when he finds out who was the driver who supposedly killed Letty and that tricked out Torino, and I can say finally something besides Starsky and Hutch that gave to Torino some love, because when it comes to Ford vehicles, it's all, I swear, movies are always about Mustangs. When it comes to muscle cars, which Mustang's a damn pony car, but hey, finally something besides Starsky and Hutch that gave to Torino some love. And talking about how epic rivalry between Dom Toretto and Laz Alonso's character in that movie. I mean, talking about that, so then and then they get that, then the old showdown with Brian and Subaru and Dom and the Charger, trying to extradite Braga back to America, and I'll talk about that showdown, the chase between that when they get chased by various assortments like jacked up trucks to hot rodded American sedans, and talk about one of the most epic chases in the franchise history. I mean, it was like some Mad Max shit on that one. Levels of badassery on that one, which is pretty much, the racing is pretty much the highlight of this movie compared to the so-so story, the character development between the relationship between Brian and Mia, from trying to, after they broke up and then reconciled, and then and of course the flaw happened to have been the cliffhanger ending. Although I'm glad it was resolved with Fast Five, but hey, if you're gonna end the film on a cliffhanger, at least have plans to resolve it. Nobody likes unresolved cliffhangers. And back to that chase with the extradition chasing, and some of those vehicles, even like the unmarked but Silverado, which was obviously like an off-road racing version, but without no decals or anything, and that jump and all, and how they, and how it failed to take down Dom and all, and and how they, and then when they got to the cave, and then Dom wrecks his Charger and then jacks the dude's Camaro after knocking out a hot rod Lincoln or something, which I'm gonna say was the Lincoln equivalent to T-Bird, which of course, which is like the '80s T-Bird, which is my personal favorite era of it, because I have, because my, well, to the NASCAR fans watching, y'all, if you know, you know, and talking about how Dom jacked that Camaro with it had F-bomb written all over it, and finally took out the Torino dude with a and that, and oof. Yeah. I gotta say, overall, this one kind of gets a 4 out of 5, because I say I liked it, but yeah, it was kind of a mixed emotion prior to Fast Five coming out because of the cliffhanger ending. But overall, an excellent film. I hope y'all like my review. Enjoy, subscribe, and tell me what you thought and all that, and I'll keep dishing them out.